Greetings and welcome to the Cell Guru Show. This is your weekly roundup of the best in smartphones and all kind of mobility devices. We've got lots and lots of stuff happening on the show, including the OnePlus Nord 2. This is a mid-range offering from the OnePlus brand. First OnePlus phone with the MediaTek SoC. Focuses on optics. What else did they get right? Then the Poco F3 GT. This is the successor to the very popular Poco launched in 2018. First Poco phone with an AMOLED screen. And we'll do a comparison, Nord 2 versus the Poco F3 GT versus the Oppo Reno 6, comparable hardware on all three phones, but we'll tell you which is the best phone at this price point. And we'll round it up with the Tecno Camon 17 Pro at about 17,000 rupees. The main focus is on the cameras and the video and what all it can do. Let's get started with today's Cell Guru Show. Let's start off, of course, with news coming in from the world of mobiles. There's good and bad news. Google announced the Pixel 6 and the Pro version, but they won't be coming to India. But I'll tell you something else that I'm even more excited about. Google has come up with the Tensor. This is a custom chip that they're making. So imagine now, Apple's making their own, Google's making their own, Samsung already has their own. What's going to happen to traditional chip makers? Let's start off with all the news.
Earlier this week, Google made a surprise announcement showcasing its upcoming Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro smartphones. The long-awaited successors are a ground design with a bold new look that emphasizes the camera array. For the first time, Google is introducing both a 4x telephoto sensor and an ultra-wide camera in addition to a new primary sensor on the Pixel 6 Pro. The Google Pixel 6 will have the same main camera and ultra-wide camera but no optical zoom. Google has also developed its own chipset for the phone. Called Google Tensor, the chipset has a heavy focus on artificial intelligence and machine learning to enhance experiences like photography and voice-based commands. The phone goes on sale later this year in a wide range of colors including black, white, gold, as well as pastel options like mint and orange. So far, Google has announced plans to launch in 8 different countries. Unfortunately, like last year, India is not on the list.
Let's start off with our top story, the OnePlus Nord 2. Much awaited, this sub-brand from OnePlus is on fire. Nord is literally a brand on its own, but did they do enough to actually take this whole legacy forward? So first of all, I'll start with the looks. Feels very premium due to the glass back. 90Hz 6.43-inch AMOLED display, MediaTek 1200 AI chipset, much improved cameras, 50 megapixel primary, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel depth, very clean software as always, 4500 mAh battery, 65-watt fast charger, priced at 27,999. But again, we come down to this. When the first OnePlus Nord came out, the market was very different. Where is it now? How does this compete with the rest of the phones?
If 2020 was all about OnePlus testing the waters of mid-range smartphones, it is diving off the deep end in 2021. The original Nord was the company's first mid-range smartphone and it is ready to kick it up a notch with the Nord 2. But the competition hasn't been sitting still, and in the Cell Guru review of the OnePlus Nord 2, we see if the company brings the heat to the segment. There is no mistaking the OnePlus Nord 2. One look at the phone and you can see it is part of the same family of phones as the OnePlus 9 and the 9 Pro. From the camera module to the general design, it follows the same curves and flows as its more premium brothers, and without a doubt, the Nord 2 is a luxurious looking phone. The Gorilla Glass 5 at the front and back wrap into a polycarbonate mid-frame which has all the standard buttons including the traditional OnePlus Alert slider. The display too looks excellent with high peak brightness levels and very good color calibration. Unfortunately, 90Hz is starting to feel a bit old with the 120Hz options on the market, but it is still enough to make the interface feel very fluid. Paired with the stereo speakers, the phone should make for an excellent multimedia consumption. OnePlus doesn't claim to have an IP rating here, but the phone is splash resistant, so you should be okay with a few droplets during the monsoon. The Nord 2 is also the first OnePlus phone launching with MediaTek chipset. The Dimensity 1200 AI delivers almost flagship-grade performance and has 5G capabilities too. Combined with Oxygen OS built on Android 11, the phone is exceptionally fast in everyday use. There are no lags or slowdowns anywhere, and gaming too is no trouble for the phone. If you need even more performance, the phone has a high performance mode, but toggling it on makes the phone blazing hot. Most users will have no need for it. The 4500 mAh battery isn't the largest around but lasts 1 day of use, and the included 65-watt charge ensures a speedy top-up when you need to charge. Finally, OnePlus is promising 2 years of Android updates, which is a welcome addition. Now let's talk cameras. OnePlus phones have traditionally had iffy camera performance at launch. The Nord 2 does a bit better. To start with, the phone has a 50-megapixel primary sensor that captures a good amount of detail. Images look a bit oversaturated and contrast levels can be a bit too high, but thrown up on social media, the images look rather good. Next to it is an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera. The color balance between the two cameras can vary quite a bit, and HDR performance isn't the best we have seen. Detail levels aren't the greatest either because of the low resolution sensor. Talking about selfie camera, OnePlus has bumped up the resolution to 32 megapixels. This time around, the phone captures ample detail but has a tendency to bump up exposure levels to brighten up the image. It's not very accurate. Overall, despite being a solid contender in the mid-range segment, the OnePlus Nord 2 hasn't quite delivered a perfect phone. The camera isn't the best in class and the lack of 120Hz display is unfortunate. But there's still a lot to like here. The rest of the package lives up to the promise, and priced starting 27,999 rupees, the OnePlus Nord 2 makes for a worthy recommendation as a premium looking device that excels at everyday use.
Our next story is a Poco. This is a company and a brand on fire. Every time they come up with something, they are doing something dramatically different from the previous time. The Poco F3 GT is what we're going to talk about. Now again, starts off premium, glass back, 6.67-inch 10-bit AMOLED display with HDR10+, 120Hz refresh rate, MediaTek Dimensity 1200 chipset, triple camera setup, physical shoulder triggers for gaming, stereo speaker with Dolby Atmos, nice battery 5000 plus, and price starts at 26,499. Looks competitive, right?
There is the perception that Android smartphones are a sea of sameness. While this statement may hold for some parts, other times there comes a smartphone that disrupts the industry and earns a legendary status. Case in point, the Poco F1 was one such device that was launched in 2018. Now Poco has finally launched a successor, the Poco F3 GT. Needless to say, it has some big shoes to fill. Not to mention the stiff competition it faces in the 30,000 segment. So let's find out whether the Poco F3 GT stands out from the competition. The most interesting aspect of the Poco F3 GT is its design. The phone has an aluminium frame and glass body design that features a pattern on the back with a landscape-oriented Poco branding. The Poco F3 GT also manages to be reasonably slim at 8.3mm, and the addition of curved sides make it easier to hold and grip the device. But weighing over 200 grams makes the phone quite heavy. Thankfully, the weight is quite well distributed. The camera module has subtle breathing, RGB lighting on the top and bottom that lights up during notifications and charging, and looks cool without going overboard like some other gaming phones. And what might be the silliest Easter egg in smartphone design, the flash looks like a flash. While the Gorilla Glass 5 protection on top keeps everything pristine, we did not like the addition of random words like freezing and speediest that really go against the phone's premium position. Up front, the Poco F3 GT sports a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED screen, and we have to say that this is one of the best displays in the segment. Content consumption is bliss on this device with incredible color fidelity, high brightness levels and tons of clarity. Paired with excellent speakers, it becomes a binge machine. We also had no problems using the phone outdoors under direct sunlight. The max brightness was always adequate to retain legibility. Coming to hardware, the Poco F3 GT packs MediaTek's flagship processor, the Dimensity 1200 chipset paired with 8GB RAM as expected. It performs really well with daily usage apps and multitasking, and with a 120Hz fast refresh rate, it makes the experience much smoother. Although we did notice some lags and jitters in the UI. Nothing alarming but worth mentioning. Things get interesting when we get to gaming though. The CPU is quite comparable to its Snapdragon counterparts, but it's the GPU that seems inadequate while playing the most demanding games. POCO F3 GT also comes with mechanical shoulder buttons that can be mapped to any points on the screen for gaming. There is a bit of a learning curve, but it really helped us respond and act quicker once habituated. The POCO F3 GT runs on POCO UI, which is a slightly modified version of Xiaomi's MIUI based on Android 11. It's a lean skin but comes with a lot of preloaded apps and services, most of which can be removed or disabled. There are no ads in the interface and even stray notifications were rare. Having said that, it wasn't a perfect experience as app crashes and bugs were still present. Coming to optics, the POCO F3 GT packs a 64 megapixel primary sensor, 8 megapixel ultra-wide and 2 megapixel macro camera. Once the lights are turned on or under ample lighting, images turn out to be detailed with good dynamic range and colors. The ultra-wide tends to distort around the edges, making the images a tad bit soft owing to its low megapixel. The macro is the least impressive of the lot and passable at best. The 16 megapixel selfie camera can take some Instagram-worthy photos. The POCO F3 GT runs off a large 5065 mAh battery which provides excellent battery life. With moderate use, 6 to 8 hours of screen on time is also possible. It also ships with a 67-watt charger in the box. Wireless charging has been given a miss here, but that is the norm in this price segment. Priced at Rs 26,499 for the base 6GB variant, phones in this price segment have been launching with either performance software or camera quality being their USPs. And the POCO F3 GT ticks almost all the boxes. From MediaTek's flagship chipset, great display and long battery life, the POCO F3 GT is an easy recommendation from our side.
Now, I know what you all are going to ask for. I mean, 2 amazing phones I've reviewed, 1 amazing phone I did a week back. So, shouldn't we compare them on? Absolutely. You totally and absolutely just took it away from me. We're going to compare the Nord 2 with the POCO F3 GT versus the Oppo Reno 6. So lots of things to compare, but I'll give you some quick perspective to things that I think are important. So the display, AMOLED displays all around 90 Hz for 2 of them. POCO F3 GT has 120 Hz. MediaTek Dimensity chipsets, 1200 for all of them. Reno 6 comes with the Dimensity 900. Great cameras on them all, but Oppo just gets in more features like the bokeh portrait and others. POCO has the biggest battery, all support fast charging, all the chargers come in the box. Now let's take a look at the rest of the features.
Long gone are the days when you had to spend a fortune to get flagship level performance, good camera setup and a long list of features. Nowadays, the mid-range segment of smartphones offers everything except the kitchen sink, and this category is picking up a lot of heat with the launch of new contenders. The OnePlus Nord 2 has managed to become an easy recommendation in the 30,000 price segment. But does it still make sense with the launch of POCO F3 GT and the Oppo Reno 6? In our review, we put them head to head and find out which one gets to wear the crown for the best mid-range smartphone. Oppo phones have an edge when it comes to design, and the Reno 6 is no exception. It is a beautiful phone to look at, especially in the Reno Glow finish. All 3 phones have a glass back which lends a premium feel and makes the in-hand experience pleasant. They also have the tendency of resisting fingerprints, which is a relief. The only thing differentiating would be the weight, with the POCO being the heaviest at 205 grams, which is not significant but worth mentioning. Neither of them comes with an expandable storage or 3.5mm headphone jack, which is a bummer. The POCO F3 GT gallops ahead when it comes to the display. It is one of the few phones which ships with a 10-bit AMOLED panel with HDR10+ support for content. Complementing the gorgeous display, a pair of excellent stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support makes the media experience wholesome. While the brightness and contrast are also good on both the Nord 2 and Oppo Reno 6, a set of good sounding speakers are given a miss, which is a missed opportunity in our opinion. The POCO is also the only one that supports a fast 120Hz refresh rate, whereas the Nord 2 and Oppo Reno 6 are capped at 90Hz. Coming to hardware, both Note 2 and Poco F3 GT pack MediaTek's flagship Dimensity 1200 chipset with 8GB RAM and fast UFS 3.1 storage, whereas the Oppo Reno 6 comes with a MediaTek Dimensity 900. Despite being a less powerful chipset, the performance is at par with both Poco and Note 2 and can handle day-to-day usage and can also multitask like a champ. We noticed UI lags on both the Oppo Reno 6 and Poco due to heavier Android skin and pre-installed bloatware. When we talk about gaming, things turn in the favor of the Poco F3 GT. This is the only device that comes with dedicated shoulder buttons, thus enhancing the overall gaming experience. Coming to cameras, Oppo Reno 6 takes a leap ahead. All three of them pack a triple camera setup. Colors are well balanced and the images turn out to be sharp under ample lighting. The ultrawide does a good job of capturing more in the frame without much distortion. Video is where Oppo Reno 6 takes the lead with its bokeh portrait mode and a host of camera filters, giving the user many options. The selfie shooter does a great job of producing natural looking images with reasonable skin tones. In the battery department, the Poco packs the largest 5065 mAh battery capacity, while both the Note 2 and Oppo Reno 6 pack a similar 4500 mAh and 4300 mAh. All three will comfortably last a day under normal use. For heavy users though, all three support blazing fast charging speeds with bundled chargers in the box. So which one gets to wear the crown of the best mid-range smartphone? Priced at $26,499, the Poco F3 GT is our pick of the lot, packing everything any user would want, be it performance, battery or display. The Note 2 priced at $27,999 also makes a good case for itself by providing improved optics and clean software.
Let's take a quick break right now. On the show, when we come back, lots more happening. Welcome back to the Cell Guru Show. We're moving on to one more phone now. This is the Tecno Camon 17 Pro. Very interesting because Camon has taken up more of a challenge, saying that they'll actually bring in the kind of features and optics that is there in 20,000-30,000 rupee phones, but price it at about 17,000 rupees. So 48 megapixel front selfie camera, nice 6.8 inch 90 Hz display, MediaTek Helio G95 processor, 64 megapixel primary sensor, 5000 mAh battery, and prices start at 16,999.
While Tecno has traditionally stuck to the entry-level smartphone segment, it is clearly making a play for the higher-end mid-range market. Does the phone have what it takes to steal the crown from excellent options from Xiaomi, Samsung and others? Let's find out in the Cell Guru review of the Tecno Camon 17 Pro. The design of the Tecno Camon 17 Pro is an interesting mix of elements from all the major design trends going around. You'll find vertical stripes, color-changing hues, a large and glossy camera module, and most visibly, massive branding at the back. It can all sound a bit overwhelming, but the phone pulls off the design fairly well. It is, however, an all-plastic build, making it prone to scratches. We found the button layout on the phone to be quite good, and the side-mounted fingerprint scanner stood out for how fast it unlocks the phone. You'll even find a headphone jack along the bottom edge as well as stereo speakers. Coming to the display, the 6.8-inch panel here is not the brightest we have tested. In direct sunlight, the phone is not as easy to use as some of the alternatives, and contrast levels are not that great either. The display can look a bit dull with poor black levels, making it less than ideal for multimedia consumption. You do, however, get a 90 Hz refresh rate that enhances fluidity. Powered by a MediaTek Helio G95, the Tecno Camon 17 Pro is a decent performer. Day-to-day tasks are no issue at all, and the phone comfortably manages to juggle apps and multitasking. The phone does okay for a spot of gaming, but you will have to turn down some settings for smooth frame rates. The software experience, however, is less than great on the Tecno Camon 17 Pro. The phone runs Android 11 with a heavily skinned take. We were not a fan of the sheer number of pre-installed apps and software. Not all the apps can be removed, and spam in the notifications can be particularly off-putting. The phone will, however, easily last a full day of use. The combination of a 5000 mAh battery and a mid-range processor makes it a winner. Charging too is quick with the included 33-watt charger. Coming to the cameras, the phone has 4 of them at the back. First up is a 64 megapixel sensor that captures surprisingly well-detailed images. The images look a bit overexposed, but this is easy to fix while shooting. Dynamic range, however, is not that good and images can look a bit dull. Night mode, on the other hand, is rather impressive with ample detail and brightly exposed shots. The 8-megapixel ultra-wide sensor has the same issues as the primary sensor. It captures overexposed shots with washed-out colors. However, the Tecno Camon 17 Pro truly comes into its own when it comes to capturing selfies. The 48-megapixel camera captures incredibly sharp and detailed shots. Dynamic range too is quite good, though you will observe some signs of skin brightening. Priced at 16,999 rupees, the Tecno Camon 17 Pro is going up against the tough competition. While it doesn't have all the bells and whistles as the competition, the phone is a big leap forward for the brand. It isn't the best phone in the segment, but serves as a decent step up for long-time Tecno users. Others, however, may want to look at dozens of quality alternatives.
That then was the Cell Guru show for this week. Lots coming up next week, including the Samsung A22. But remember, that's just one. There's so much more. See you next week.